Another day, another blessing, and another chance to be inspired. A very exciting morning, everyone! Happy Independence Day! Mabuhay ang malayang Pilipino! Welcome everyone to Hero Summit 3. And I am Janice de la Cruz. I will be your host this morning. How are you? How's your morning? What are you grateful for? Yan, type nyo naman sa chat box natin ang inyong mga blessings that you're very grateful for, and let's take time to read them. Let's inspire each other. Ayan. Ako, I'm so grateful that this is the third Heroes Online Summit. So previously, we had the Heroes Summit last year, 2 runs. One in August, the first run, and then another one in November. So this time around, we're having another run. This is the third run for this year, 2021. Yan. So, huwag kayo mahiya. Please type in the chat box. Welcome sa ating mga participants. We have Emma, we have Katrina, we have Kyle, we have Mike, and we have Remy. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Yan. Glad to be alive. Yes, glad to be here. Thank you. Thank you, Remy, for joining us. Glad to open my eyes and do what I can today, says Anne. Emma says, grateful for this event to be inspired by the 4 speakers. And I am so thankful that you have spent your time, holiday, precious time to be with us this morning. Medyo mahirap gumising ng maaga, di ba? Dahil holiday, tapos Saturday pa. So thank you very much for really allotting time for this event. Again, welcome to Heroes Summit 3. And as Heroes stands for, we are here to help entrepreneurs rise and overcome economic struggles. So how? Well, in just a few minutes, we will learn how to shift from on-site to online through our hero speakers. So we have 4 amazing speakers. The first one will discuss the big online shift at COVID times. We have Mr. Donald Lim. Second is to share with us how to love our own Filipina color. We have Miss Ayn Bernos of Morena, a Filipina brand. And then third, we have is a shifting online by Mr. Mark Del Rosario to help MSMEs sell online through his talk. And lastly, but not the least, of course, as entrepreneurs, it is vital to know your market, which is why our last hero speaker, Jason De La Rosa, will be discussing the modern market. Wow, the coming 2 hours of our morning is definitely be full of knowledge and inspiration. We can surely shift from on-site to online after this event. Since we are online, we'd like to remind you to turn off your audio when not speaking. It's okay to turn on your video so that we can interact with each other. If you're using a laptop or desktop, make sure you are on speaker view. If you have questions for our speakers, don't hesitate. Type it in the chat box at the end of the program or in the middle. As we go along, we'll have a panel question and answer with our speakers. Stay until the end of the program to win some raffle prizes. Yan. And as mentioned in my previous events, no? So nagkakaroon tayo ng live events, proceeds of this event, part of the proceeds of this event will be supporting FC Angkor Global Scholars. So this is really a worthy cause for us. Okay, let's start. We will not keep you waiting as our first speaker is already here and very much prepared for all of us. Let's start. Okay, before we start, can I see in the chat box, can you type R for ready? Okay, so that I would know if our participants here are all ready. Please type R in the chat box. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Let's begin. Let's start with our unaccomplished and well-renowned guru in the digital marketing and advertising industry. Dr. Donald Patrick Lim is currently the Chief Operating Officer of Ito CME and the Chief Innovation Officer of Udena Corporation. Prior to this current role, he has served in various leadership capacities in the media, advertising, and digital spaces. Having been the country CEO of thru Aegis Philippines, Chief Digital Officer of ABS-CBN Corporation, Managing Director of MRM Manila, and CEO of KK Corporation and Media Contacts Manila. Wow, such an accomplishment indeed. And to give us more knowledge about the big online shift at the COVID times, let's give a virtual applause to Mr. Donald Lin. Hi, Sir Donald. Good morning.
Hello. Morning, Janice. Morning.
Yes, I'm excited to learn more about your topic. So
Yeah.
I'm giving you the floor now.
Thank you.
Away.
Thank you. So, morning, everyone. I'm given 20 minutes, so I'll go straight to the point. My presentation will be leading in the new normal, the big online shift at COVID times. So this morning I'll be discussing what happened during COVID. Hopefully, I will be able to give you a new perspective and new insights, so that you will be able to look forward, and hopefully with that hope that things will get better, as many of us have been affected with COVID. As how I was introduced, I'm the Chief Innovation Officer of the Udena Group. Our flagship is Phoenix. You might be familiar with them, 888, which is Contis and Wendy's. We own hotels also, schools, and others. I'm also COO of Dito CME, which is the third telco. And we also do investments, especially on the technology and digital transformation side. So with that, let me start my presentation with one of my favorite quotes, and that happened during COVID. And this is by Ram Emanuel. He borrowed this from Winston Churchill. He said, "You never let a serious crisis go to waste." And what I mean by that is that it's an opportunity to do things you think you could not do before. And true enough, if you think about it, how during COVID, before COVID, we've always been very busy. And yet today we realize that it's already becoming, we already have more free time to do more things, things that we're putting off. Now we have that chance to start doing it. And it's a challenge, This COVID pandemic is a challenge like many of us have never seen before. The circumstances are taking us beyond our knowledge and capabilities. There's an avalanche of information, so many things, so many information coming in, but hard to know what is correct. We have competing priorities. Do we keep our people healthy, or do we keep the business going? So, for example, in our business, do we have our people coming for work and manage the business, or do we want to keep them safe, right? So that's always a constant struggle for all of us. It's a highly dynamic situation. It changes by the minute. The endpoint is not at all clear. There are high uncertainty and high stakes, and decisions have to be made under stress in real time. So the reality is that COVID actually shut down a lot of businesses. Myself, I think I shut down like 3 restaurants. So on the personal side, so I invested in some restaurants way before COVID, and then no choice, we have to shut them down because they're just not enough people, not enough customers going in. But again, we just have to stand up again, just move forward and be optimistic, on what we want to, what we can do next. So if you Google, if you Google COVID business closures, there are so many. Actually, a lot of businesses have actually closed down. Like, for example, like Marco Polo Davao. These are articles I just got from the internet. For Honda, one Isuzu dealership closed down in Manila. Even actually, if you think about it, globally, Zara owner to close up to 1,200 fashion stores from around the world, or Uniqlo closing all their US stores. So we're seeing that COVID did not spare anyone, and that's why it's a bit brutal, because it actually forced people to just stay at home, and no commerce is being made. People are not buying, and people are fearful for, many lost their jobs, and therefore disposable income is not available. So that is why in 2020, it is what we call a great pause. It's a great pause. Work may not have slowed down if we can help it. However, the extended lockdown period has restricted physically visiting the workplace for many, socialization, travel, and general recreation. So from the fast pace that governed our days and weekends, these restrictions have forced to slow down what some would have called the great pause. This period will change how we move, work, learn, live, play, travel, govern. It will change everything. So in the history books, the COVID-19 pandemic will be named along with the world wars, the Industrial Revolution, movements that completely reshaped and reconfigured society. So what we're seeing, 2020 is something we will never forget. In many cases, I'm sure many of you have experienced sitting on the laps of your grandparents asking what happened during World War II. So for us, I think this is one of the major episodes that happened within our lifetime that we will not forget. The rich and poor have been affected tremendously by it also. So what does COVID, and now with the onslaught of digital, what does that mean for all of us who are in business? And it actually requires a paradigm shift. So the impact of this pandemic should be felt for a long time, and moving forward from such a widespread global event will impact individuals, organizations, and governments. So what we are seeing is that there will be a return to form, but not back to normal. So we're saying that wala na yung back to normal, it's going to be a return to a bit of form, what will happen, but it's now a new normal that will happen right after this. So once the health risks have diminished, like all of us would have vaccines, we will now head back to work, schools, malls, churches. However, will routines and spending completely bounce back? While we start going out again, habits and mindsets formed during the extensive lockdown period may prevail. And at the same time, some groups will find it more difficult to recover. Right, so some of us who have been affected, like what I've said, some of my businesses, some personal businesses of mine did very well because they're in digital. Some of my other businesses actually will not recover anymore, and we have to come to terms with that, right? So there's also a potential to reimagine the future. The coronavirus has suffered critical issues that need to be addressed if we want to avoid the same situation as future pandemics arise. So this is not only the first pandemic, we might see more of that. So how are we preparing for our companies, and ourselves for that? One positive thing from the lockdown was that it gave us an opportunity to truly reset. We must embrace this and push innovation, especially in healthcare, local housing, mental health, and other issues. And ultimately, there will be a need to ensure that progress in the future is inclusive, meaning that as we succeed in business, we have to make sure that everyone in the population will also move up with us. And having seen that, a lot of people are always asking, what do I think of the new way of work? Is it going to be back to work and 5 days a week in the office again? And I would say there will be changes to traditional work. For those who were working in offices or at desk jobs, the post-COVID future will show drastic changes in the way people work together. And contrary to the popular adage, those with desk jobs may find themselves unchained with the greatest liberty to easily work outside of the office, and particularly in markets like Metro Manila, where traffic has plagued citizens and workers. Being forced to work from home may unlock cultural change that opens up to a work structure no less demanding but no longer tied to the physical workplace. I remember before 5 years ago, I used to be with an agency. We were discussing already work from home, and yet people were saying, okay, I believe that's the future, and let's prepare for that. Right? But no one really took it seriously until because of COVID, they were forced to do work from home and become really effective with it. So there's now what you call the rise for non-traditional work. The attitude towards work may change completely, as earning money will have more to do with activities rather than jobs. With quarantine forcing many into forced leave, work without pay, or complete redundancy, many have been forced to find alternative ways to earn a living, and many are turning towards side hustles, online work, and even the second-hand market. Before, I don't know, 20 years ago, we have such a thing as a moonlighting. If you're employed in a full-time job, you cannot do any extra, any part-time work. But today, that has loosened up, and in fact, most companies, they say, we cannot give you a pay raise. So, and I don't think, because there will be a period of adjustment when we go back to the next normal, maybe 3-4 years, you'd expect most companies cannot still afford an increase in salary or added benefits. So most of these companies would be more relaxed in allowing their employees to have what they call side hustles or part-time jobs after work, right? After work. So now there's what you call embracing the work from home arrangements. Many companies may now embrace a new role for each office with fewer employees coming in each day, and that practice may already extend even after COVID. So there are different ways to now look at the work week. No? Work time may be split between home and office, with more time spent at the home. So there will be a benefit for employees, will be more liberty with how to use the time that would have been sent for telecommuting. And for companies, this will become a place to inspire creativity, collaboration, and socialization. No? What happens is that the new work week may be, okay, let's all meet in the office every Thursday. Right. For some of my other friends, rotating, no, every other week they would go to the office, no, rather than so every day they would go to the office for 1 week, and then next week it's another set, right? So that's how they did their work from home rotation. No? There are some who they did MWF, TTH, and some have really opened up already. No more rooms in the office. Everything is free for all. No, you can just sit anywhere. So a lot of flexibility happening right now, and I think that's also going to be a challenge and awakening for most of the business owners who are here. You may have to really create the new standard already for your workplace. Know how you will execute this kind of a flexible working environment. No? At the same time, most employees, no, who are employed with us may also go online to augment earnings. No? So whether it's to replace their 9 to 6 jobs or just have an additional source of income, the quarantine has pushed people to upskill and seek more ways to supplement their income. No? So side hustling is used now to augment their earnings. So freelancing, side gigs, is an idea not new to most, no. But with the lockdown, this has actually aggressively been pursued and now become implemented. So those who are in the creative and the technology side, no, are actually utilizing social to promote themselves. No, so you're seeing graphic designers, even a programmer. If you need help, no, they can do something, right? But people are actually moving to their side gigs already, no, so to balance also to augment their loss in income on what happened. And at the same time, people are also diversifying their income stream. So the lockdown has made them realize the importance of diversification of income sources. So you're seeing also, I'm sure, on your Facebook feed, social media pages about investing in stocks, investing in cryptocurrency, among others. No, but what are some of the ideas? No, and of course, real estate and other opportunities where they can earn passive income. A lot have actually converted their passions, no, from their crafts to commission work. No? So they're very good in painting. So they now said, if you want me to do anything with design your bag or design your shoes, I can do it for you. Or a lot who have experimented with cooking have already already very aggressive right now, right, in social media, selling their food already online. No? And among others, no, we've seen already a lot of people, they're social media people. They can say, I'll manage your social media account, no, for your business. So many hobbies have become jobs, have become freelance jobs already. No? So allowing people to augment their income. On the other side, also, we've seen the hyper growth is driven by the need to stay at home. And what does this hyper e-growth mean? Hyper e-growth would mean the rise of e-commerce, e-services, and e-finance. So e-commerce, no, for the past year, people are typing. No, this trend is usually prompted by search and social. So we've seen people looking at e-commerce, and true enough, if you look at most apps, no, these super apps are expanding from carts to marts, no, whether it's Lazada, Shopee, or Grab. They used to be just a delivery of passengers or from one place to the other goods, but right now they've also expanded to a mart, no, a supermarket category or grocery category, where they will allow their riders to buy groceries for you. Most of the more successful brick and mortar stores, I remember talking to some of them, have also, talking to some of them even 3 years ago, they would say, well, online is still less than 5% of my sales. So I don't know if I need to invest there. But this entire past 12 months, they had to really revisit and relook at how they had to start doing, planting their seeds, not planting their seeds, but really expanding and opening shop already online. And we've seen the numbers where most of them experience extended, and really very high increase in the traffic of their websites. At the same time, there is an advocacy because a lot of people were displaced. There's what we call support small and local. Later on, we have Mark and Jason talk to you about the drive of entrepreneurship towards digital and how they can maximize the digital platform. No? But hashtags like this, they were saying that instead of supporting big corporations, why can't you just find some of your extra money? If you're buying a coffee, why don't you buy coffee from a local or a small entrepreneur who's trying to survive? From e-services, we've seen also how this has gone up for the past year. We thought that there's no such thing, or it's not possible for people to go online and teach. Our kids will not be able to learn online, but we already spent an entire year where most of our kids, nieces, nephews, grandkids have already started to spend 1 year fully online class. And in fact, even tutoring has become online. The doctor is also online. Who would have thought that before, doctors would always resist this? I would think in general. They would say that they would how can you consult for a doctor if they don't see you physically, because it's a physical checkup. And yet today we've seen most doctors, even myself included, I've done this, said hi to my doctor, and really did it just purely online, 15 minutes, GCash, so very convenient. You don't have to wait in line in the hospital. So we're seeing all of these things that are slowly being planted by COVID are changing how we think, and what used to be impossible are now becoming possibilities. When it comes to e-financing, so goodbye to queuing. You don't have to go to the bank anymore to pay. Everything is now online. We've seen an increase in the number of downloads of a lot of the bank apps, GCash among others. At the same time, even Grab, for example, launched GrabPay, and they already have a super wallet. And on the other side, this also prompted a lot of banks to ramp up their services. They cannot afford to be down or under maintenance for too long. At the same time, people are also learning. They're learning very fast. I'm sure some of you here who haven't experienced bank to bank transfer using your mobile app have no choice but to now do it, and I'm sure most of you are now experts at it already, right? So as I move to the tail end of my presentation, if you look at it, how do pandemics really end? Let me ask this question. The first is that if the virus mutates and is no longer deadly, well, that's not happening soon. In fact, its mutation is getting a bit more frightening. We've seen several strains that have evolved and sometimes becoming more deadly. So we don't know yet. Second is a vaccine is developed. So it won't be a full return to normal until a highly effective vaccine. So we're seeing that happening at least a year away. So let's see. Hopefully the back to normal may not be a year away, but maybe it could be 2022 would be better, especially the election is coming up, a lot of things to look forward to. And the vaccine will not help those already infected. So the third is that effective treatments are discovered. There are 20 promising therapeutic compounds being assessed, but we have yet to see. So no one has yet claimed that they found a cure for COVID. So what does it mean? That for all of us, we have to hope for the future, but we need to act on the reality of today. So March 2020, almost over a year ago, when we had the lockdown, today time is running out for most of us, especially those who are in business. And that is why we have to master already what we call the business pivot. The business pivot is, how do I explain it? This shift without moving away from the core. So imagine when you're playing basketball, you're dribbling your ball. And this is my favorite example, dribbling your ball, right? And you stop. So you lift one foot, you look left, and then you look right. So, and that's okay, right? You shift from left to right, but you cannot lift the other feet, right? Because that will be traveling. So you stay true to your core, but you look at other opportunities where you can grow organically or inorganically to sustain your business. So what is certain is that this is a black swan event, and they create lasting change. Black swan events are extremely rare events with large impact and potentially severe consequences. So for example, 9/11, there's now stricter aviation security. The US before 9/11, I remember when I was in the airport, you just go in, right, everywhere. And it's like a bus terminal. It's so easy, right? Until the last check, right? But now, there's security guards everywhere, dogs everywhere, canine everywhere, checking if there's something, right? So stricter aviation security. World War II, that's when women started to join the workforce. So here, a lot of, because men were out fighting in World War II, women were the ones staying in the factory, manufacturing guns, uniforms for the men. And SARS in 2003, that also prompted the e-commerce boom in China. And I think that's why China is very advanced in terms of e-commerce, because they actually experienced a sort of a COVID in 2003, and that prompted their acceleration towards digital. So one of my favorite examples when I looked at people is this Marriott. No, when some months ago I received an email because I'm part of the Marriott Club. They're saying that you cannot, if we know that you cannot experience Marriott because you cannot come to our hotel. So why don't you experience Marriott in your own home, right? So and that's they're selling actually the Marriott bed, the pillows, the linens, the beddings, bath, and set. So imagine Marriott selling their beds and all their other stuff, because they're saying enjoy Marriott there in your home rather than coming here because you cannot come here. Right? Who would have thought they would do that? And we've seen so many people so many companies who made up people. Who would have thought that a Jollibee would be selling their Chicken Joy, right? In Robinsons, in SM, and other supermarkets, right? And that's their secret recipe. They're actually making themselves more vulnerable because now that secret recipe, that frozen Chicken Joy, is now in the supermarkets. And yet they've done that. Who would have thought that potato corner, right? Potato corner, even if you have a long line, they would not even allow you to, they won't even put their fries into the fryer until you order it because the fries has to be hot. Now they're selling frozen fries, right? Ramen houses before would say that no takeout, right? Even if you order one bowl and you cannot finish it, you cannot take that out. Now they're selling take-home kits. Global art, there are some there are some tutoring classes or classes like drawing classes. No, global art, they would say you have to come here, right? So I remember having that discussion with them way before, but today they said, go online, right? Because you can also learn online. Where before they would say no, you cannot learn online. Okay? Very interesting also, I just saw this a month ago, Jollibee. Who would have thought that Jollibee kiddie party can also be done online? So before only, what do you say, adults would be on Zoom having meetings, but now Zoom or other platforms, you can actually have an online party experience already, right? So I don't think the Jollibee virtual party may be up to the regular sales of a face-to-face real party on a Jollibee store, but that's a pivot. They're also trying to generate extra revenues from there by executing it in digital and being more creative about it. Uniqlo, for example, first 6 months of the lockdown, no one is going to Uniqlo buying clothes. They are anchored on their technology called AirSIM, but of course, obviously, they also launched after 6 months their AirSIM face mask, and people were actually lining up in Tokyo, in the Japan office, because they're fans of Uniqlo, and they also want the AirSIM face mask where you can breathe more easily, right? So when you talk about 2020 and 2021, it's all about bouncing back, right? And so also challenging yourself. The question I would ask all of you is that in that entire 1 year, have you really laid the foundation for yourself? I always ask people, what did you do during COVID, right? Did you just stay at home, right? And watch Netflix? And that's fine because we want you to stay at home, right? And not infect people or get infected, right? Or did you actually help people who are in need? Or did you repurpose your business to optimize your resources so you can provide new services to your customers? Or did you create the new business opportunity to help your country? What did you do during COVID? No, and I hope that after, this is going to be a reckoning as we end the year and people get more vaccinated. Did you just whine and said, there are no opportunities, business is bad, conditions are bad, or did you create new things for yourself? What is your COVID story? Because 20 years, 30 years down the line, your kids, your grandkids may be asking you that. For me personally, I had my share of Netflix. Because I'm in the marketing field also, and I think I watched most of the Netflix shows for the past year. Those who are more popular, and for information and also for a bit of entertainment. But at the same time, I also took the opportunity to take up a lot of online courses. Things that I cannot do before because I was so busy running around. Now I have time to get online courses. In Udena, we're thinking of looking at payment technology. So during pandemic, I finished this. I reviewed my digital marketing. So I did a Google Digital Garage. So you can go for it. These are free. Because I'm a chief innovation officer, I'm one of the first Filipinos to finish an ISO in innovation. Right, so I finished this by a European group, and then I'm also looking at telemedicine. So I also did this Harvard Medical School telephone and telemedicine class. So again, I did some opportunities also to upskill myself. At the same time, I'm part of the Air Force Reserve, so we're also very active I go to checkpoints and help some of our countrymen, especially those in the earlier parts of the quarantine where people are not following the checkpoints and staying at home. So these are some of our men. At the same time, also we had with the Contis, one of our subsidiaries in Udena. During the time of COVID, we actually overbake some of the bread and we deliver it into areas, some areas where they need food. During Typhoon Ulysses, that was still during COVID time, I mobilized now. So using Udena donated a lot of relief goods, and we actually went to Tuguegarao, to Montalban, to Rizal, to deliver a lot of relief goods to help our community. So, like I've said, I'm a real believer in inclusive, that you cannot just stay on your condo or house and do nothing when the entire world is suffering. So in one way or the other, we have to be doing our share in how to help others. I also finished for that entire 1 year my command and general staff course. So I was class 67. So it's 1 year of online, and there's some face-to-face learning also. But I was able to learn the other side of the military, learning strategic military leadership, among many others. On my personal side, and again, I've closed down some of my restaurants, but I've opened some. Chami, this is my partner. Actually, is my previous boss. So you see Charo Santos there. Where we open up stores in QC, in the Marikina, and we're actually now opening this up for franchising. So again, we hope that we can help more SMEs who want to go into the food business. So we're still perfecting it. It's not perfect, but it's you just need 30 square meters, you can operate it already. So we're going small and accessibility, making it more inclusive. I had a partner in Cebu. We launched Pantry, where it's a cloud kitchen of sorts. So it's, where it's purely online, and those who are actually serving, who are cooking at home, you cannot access Grab, right? You cannot be part of Grab Food if you're like just in your home kitchen. So we created Pantry, so you can just put your products there and offer it there. In wearing my corporate hat with Family Mart. No one's going to Family Mart before, because most of the Family Marts are in the business district. So what we did was we offered Family Mart on wheels. We go to different communities and said, 10 to 11, we're in this barangay, 11 to 12, we're in this barangay. There are some of our employees whose significant other or their partner were laid off. We said, we have some stocks, maybe you can open up a mini sari-sari store, right? So something like this, if you have extra space at home, you can start selling this too, right? We've also launched actually Family Mart, where it's a truck, it's a container. So we're in shipping also, right, in Udena. So we have some container trucks. We had this idea to make it very easy for people to have their own Family Mart. We're even franchising this. So this is, I think, one in Cebu. We're expanding in Davao, and actually this year you'll see some in Metro Manila already. So it's a container vehicle, and then it's have your own Family Mart. If you see an extra space there somewhere, you can actually franchise, and it's very accessible and cheap, right? For example, in our Enderon school, we started going online and very aggressively. We have online cooking classes, and even to the point now, when you talk about online cooking class, they deliver the actual products. So there's no like get a half tablespoon of salt or whatever. That's not like that. Everything is pre-packed already for you, so that you can offer it. So you can just and then of course for the past 5 months, this is where I'm most busy. I launched Luna Academy, wearing my corporate hat. This is under D2CME. So this is the local Coursera. As you know, I'm a fan of online learning. So I created our own, hopefully our local Coursera. So currently, most of the tech courses are there already, Microsoft, Amazon, Alibaba. We loaded some of our friends in CDM, Certified Digital Marketing. There are engineering courses we've loaded already, HR courses. So by the end of the year, you will see more than 500 courses. So you can earn a digital credential or a certificate in this. So as you upskill yourself, especially during COVID, when you go back to the workforce, you want to make sure that you're ready and prepared with new skills. So again, let me ask you that question. What is your COVID story? Because after what happens after COVID is a reckoning for all of you. What did you really do? And not only for your people, your employees, or your business partners, but even later on in life when your kids or grandkids ask you, right, what is your COVID story? What did you do? So let me end by saying, by using one of my favorite quotes by Jack Ma, said, opportunity lies in where the complaints are. During the time of hardship, so many people complain. The people who emerge from these hardships and challenges are those who see the opportunities. And I hope that you also look at, and I started with the opportunity in my, when I started my presentation. I hope that all of you, and for me personally, I suffered some grief also. I lost my dad and my brother during this COVID. Businesses went down, but at the same time, it's also a way of reminding yourself on what are the most important in your life, and what you should be focusing more of, right? So as the dust settles, by 2020, by end of 2021, as we enter 2022, I would like to end this hashtag, and hashtag COVID is forever. I'm using this for the past year already. Not to say that I want COVID is forever, because it's, again, very brutal and it hurt most of us, physically, emotionally, mentally, and really challenge all of us. But at the same time, also, we want that mindset, that discipline, that looking at hope and looking for positivity amidst all of these challenges. And we hope that that mindset remains with us, so that it would bring us to a better future, because these challenges will still, will come every time, as long as we're alive. So it's all up to us to have the proper mindset, that what I call a COVID mindset, so that we would be able to embrace and move forward to the next normal. So with that, I would like to thank you for listening, and I'll pass the mic back. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. A virtual applause to our first speaker, Mr. Donald Lim. Wow, amazing. Talaga naman. My key takeaway, sir, with what you shared is yung hope for the future, but you have to act today. Hindi pwedeng panood-nood lang, di ba? Wala kang gagawin.
Hindi ka pwede magmukmuk lang.
Yes. I love what you said about what's your COVID story.
Yeah.
So this will be part of history, and when we look back, di ba, when we 10 years from now, and we look back to this day, ano ba yung ginawa mo?
Yeah.
Kinikilabutan nga ako nung sinasabi mo yon. Because truly, di ba, parang talagang, hindi naman first time to I mean, first time yung COVID, but in the recent history nga naman, marami ng instances na sinabi mo kanina na Black Swan. And we know already, in a way, what to do.
Yeah.
And tayo pang mga Pinoy, di ba? Very resilient tayo. We have positive mindset. So, I have a question for you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you think there will be more job openings from here on in terms of yung work from home?
Yeah. I think number one, the work from home, we will expect that to really aggressively grow. But when you talk about job openings, let's be realistic. It's not going to spike, because most businesses will open slowly rather than aggressively, right? Because we're 97% SME, marami na nasunog. However, there's some monies that are going around. We've seen naman, if you go out, marami na rin nag-open ng tindahan. So hopefully that spurs things up. But again, it's going to be slow. Meaning, kasi even if they open up a store, the disposable income is not there yet. So kailangan humabol rin yung disposable income, yung pera ng tao, So it will take some time. So I think sabi nga nila, great pause 2020, pause tayo. 2021 great reset muna lahat. Start naman planting new seeds, right? So 2022, hopefully that would be better. Yun na yung spring. Hopefully the flowers start to bloom from there. Kaya that's why I said, I always tell people, some people, even friends who are graduates of good schools will come and say that they've been retrenched. How do they find a job? Bakit ano nangyari? And I will say, you have all the more dapat mas kaya mo. Di ba? All the more mas kaya mo. You have to pivot. You have to find new opportunities for yourself, because for your family and for everyone. Right? So again, it's going to be a slow back to normal, but I think hopefully mas okay na tayo versus other countries.
Yes. Actually, dumami na ang naging entrepreneur mindset
agree.
Right now. Because, syempre, dahil wala kang mga openings, nasasarado yung mga companies, so nag-umpisa na rin silang mag-venture into their dream businesses, kahit paunti-unti. Ayan. We also have another question. So, given the rise of online content creators, sellers, and advertisers, so will there be any regulatory board to protect consumers from scammers and hackers?
Well, right now it's still a bit fluffy kung kanino talaga, no? Of course, the DICT, the DTI, and all of that, no? We're going towards a very digital world, which means also that the expectation is not only regulatory but also from the consumer to wise up also. And mo pwede sabihin na hack ako, no? I think the next generation, they would also understand those. That's a new normal for them, and they have to be more careful. Right? So regulatory wise, there's nothing yet there. I think there are some who are more may mga trade organizations. For example, my influencers may CICP. No, I think si paring Mark Del Rosario is a board of director there. No, Creators and Influencers Council. Right? IMAP, the Internet and Mobile Marketing Association. These are trade organizations. So they monitor themselves already. So kung may alanganin, you can actually use these organizations to lobby or to do whatever if you feel na nagkaroon ng problem.
Thank you, Sir Donald. So we have questions ba sa ating participants this morning? Please type in your questions sa ating chat box habang nandito pa si Sir Donald. If wala na tayong question, we will now, I'll ask Sir Donald any final words for our participants right now. Nasabi niyo na po yung inyong pinaka-main message, but you have anything to add to that? Sir
I think you just have to, again, I always have I'm optimistic, but always have to be anchored on reality. When you plan, do not plan too far ahead because may pang mangyari. So usually 6 months. Now make sure you're alive and well, your business alive and well, no? Especially for the entrepreneurs. Money is very important, so just hold on to it for business. And personally, try to improve yourself. Find ways. There's no such thing. Wala ka ng excuse na wala kang time ngayon. Mas may time ka ngayon eh. Wala ka nang ipit sa traffic eh. So try to upskill yourself in whatever way or form, right? And learn as much as you can, no? And later on you realize hindi mo alam na magagamit mo yun later on eh. Sometimes walang rhyme or reason. But later on you will find out ay buti na lang ginawa mo yun, no? So don't be idle. Yun lang, no? Don't be idle. Try to be productive every day.
Yes, don't be idle. And so kaya ina-upload ko yung ating mga participants this morning kasi despite the holiday, you really took the time to be with us this morning to learn investing in yourself sa inyong growth and development para mas makapagbigay kayo sa ibang tao. Yan. Thank you very much, Sir Donald. God bless po.
Thank you.